especially in the West, and not only the West, I mean, in a lot of countries that maybe aren't that, close to Sanatan Dharam and our culture and our values and our scriptures, they think that, you know what, the mind and consciousness is the same thing. They're like, consciousness is the brain, right? It's the mind. But that's not what our scriptures say. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
In neuroscience, there's a raging debate on this point. Is there a mind separate from the brain? What is the nature of thoughts? Is it merely electrochemical energy as electricity passed through the neurons? Or is it a metaphysical energy? And scientists haven't reached a decision. So when they try and probe into the functioning of the mind, they detect theta waves, alpha waves, beta waves, right? So they assume that this is all the mind is. But that is like hearing the roar of a lion and thinking a lion is merely sound energy. Right. So, in this reductionist viewpoint, people are bringing everything down to atoms and molecules. Now, the Vedas say there is a difficulty in this perspective. If there is no mind separate from the brain, which is the prevalent neuroscientific viewpoint, then when you have a corpus callosotomy surgery, you know what is a corpus callosotomy? When people have epileptic fits, and if the fits are extremely severe, if it travels from maybe the left lobe to the right lobe or vice versa, it becomes a complete fit. And that is why, to keep it in its limits, Roger Perry in 1980s, he created this surgery where you split the two lobes apart so they are no longer connected with each other. Now imagine somebody's brain is split into two, but he remains as an individual. Right? It's just like, let's say you have your PC. It's got one set of machinery, and you split it into two with an axe or a saw, and you realize it's still functioning as one machinery. How does that happen? So if our individuality, if our intellect is coming merely from the brain, when the brain is split, we should have two individuals. But here, you see the person who has undergone the surgery, and you will realize he's still the same person. In fact, his functionality is not very much affected, which can only be explained through our Vedic model that says that the brain is like the hardware, and there is the mind which is like the software, which is accessing the brain and utilizing it. Now, the brain is made from metaphysical energy, which means our modern-day instruments haven't completely understood that kind of energy. But it does exist. So the mind is like a subtle machine which is constantly creating thoughts. Okay, and those thoughts can get us into trouble, but they can also help us reach the divine goal.